It was a speech unlike any other we've seen from President Trump. His first address to a joint session of Congress, winning widespread praise. It was certainly the most presidential we've ever seen, Mr. Trump, a speech some are calling more effective than his inaugural. He struck a very optimistic and conciliatory tone last night while delivering his message of unity and strength.
We are one people with one destiny. We all bleed the same blood. We all salute the same great American flag. And we all are made by the same God. I am asking all citizens to embrace this renewal of the American spirit. I am asking all members of Congress to join me in dreaming big and bold and daring things for our country. I am asking everyone watching tonight to seize this moment, believe in yourselves, believe in your future, and believe once more in America.
He repeated a number of his themes from the campaign trail, including his America First agenda.
America must put its own citizens first, because only then can we truly make America great again. We will respect the foreign rights of all nations, and they have to respect our rights as a nation also. Free nations are the best vehicle for expressing the will of the people, and America respects the right of all nations to chart their own path. My job is not to represent the world. My job is to represent the United States of America.
All right, so the speech, Greg, lasting a little over an hour, and I don't think anybody lost interest.
No, that was a home run. And how do you know? If you see the bitter, wistful tweets from Hollywood as it was going on, they sounded like plaintive cries from the bottom of a well. Like poor Sarah Silverman and Patton Oswalt, they didn't know what to do. And I don't think you heard anything from the Clinton side. Like you didn't hear from Hillary, you didn't hear from her lingering daughter, what's her name? You know, the fact is, there was nothing they could put their hands on. And I think the best metaphor I could come up with, this election season has been like a long-haul flight, where when it begins in turbulent weather, it's very turbulent. Going up, it was frightening, and as you're climbing, there's all these bumps. And I felt like last night, you finally hit smooth air. And it was like, everybody went like, you know what? He might be okay. And I'm talking about the critics. They're thinking like, maybe he's not Hitler. Maybe he's actually pretty good. And so you start thinking about the Democrats as they're listening to things from him that they agree with. What are you going to do? You're like a polar bear on a shrinking piece of ice in the middle of the ocean. You're going to be the last person on that ice ignoring the things that he's saying. And you're going to have to find a backup plan to hate Donald Trump when it turns out that Darth Vader really is your dad. Because a lot of the stuff he said.
And he's a good guy.
Yeah.
As a kid once told me at a climate change event, polar bears can swim, but they can't swim forever.
Oh, I'm going to cry now.
I was thinking of you last night, Eric, a couple of times. I could actually even show you my notes. But one of the things was somebody said that if the pundits liked it last night, that must mean that the people did not, because they want like what they've seen from him as a candidate. But I think it actually maybe worked for both audiences.
Amazingly, so there's a 78%. There's a poll out today, 78% approval rating.
Oh, do we like this?
No,
is this a poll that we like?
Let's talk about the people then.
This is a valid action.
Okay,
right,
I just want to make sure I understand what polls are acceptable.
Let's stay with the people. For the first time, after a speech and in the morning, the opposite party pundits had to say, you know what? We gave him a chance, which I recommended on Monday. We gave him a chance, and I liked it. There were a couple of them from different networks saying he became president last night.
Van Jones at CNN.
Van Jones at CNN. We had a couple here. But here's the kicker. Now never Trumpers don't have an argument, at least for now, unless they don't like what he's actually doing.
Why do you have to do it that way, though? Why can't you look at it the other way, which is maybe now they have somebody that they can agree with?
There was the opposition party, the Democrats, and then there was the anti-Trumpers who didn't like him, and there was the pro-Trump group, was about 40% or so. So now these never Trumpers are going, I kind of like that. He was really compelling, and he was patriotic, and he was talking about the military. In the moment, a 2.5-minute standing ovation, they're going to have a hard time pushing back on him now. So that puts the Democrats in a box. This morning, you saw Pelosi and Schumer coming out very negative on that speech. It almost highlights the fact that they're only about being obstructionists. They're not about the country. They're not about what's best for America. And all they are is anti-Trump.
They're obstructionists.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
I see it. that would be a good conversation for another day. But I wanted to mention something that President Obama's former speechwriter, Tommy Vietor, said, which is that good speech. Now comes the policy, so onward. It's like 48 hours of a speech is not, it's not going to last that long if you are a Democrat that's upset. You'll have plenty of things in the next 4 years you want to complain about.
Absolutely, but they have to give him credit because that speech was, I think it was phenomenal. It was well delivered. It was both aspirational and inspirational. And I think that whether you're a Democrat or whether you're a Republican and you love this country and you want to see families doing well and you want to see wholesale policy change in a positive direction, that was more than encouraging. And you saw by some of the applause that he got from both sides. So a lot of things that we talked about, he did hit in that speech, and it was very, emotional, including the part with, the Navy SEAL, the widow. Really incredible in terms of the emotion there, and no one could deny that except for, Debbie Wasserman.
I thought that was an American moment, which we're going to show after we get Juan's initial take, because we were on last night on the panel after sleeping on it overnight. Any different thoughts when you woke up?
No, I thought he did his job, but I mean, I'm flattered. I'm so flattered. In fact, I'm wearing the tie you gave me for Christmas, the Trump tie.
I gave that to you.
No. Did you give it to me?
I gave you the Redskins.
Oh, you gave me the Redskins. All right. Anyway.
Oh, my God.
He already forgot. Typical liberal.
No, it's
give them something, they forget.
No, it's like a significant other.
Oh.
But I'm just saying to you, I am so flattered. All of you are interpreting this speech in terms of the way Democrats reacted. Actually, I think you should be thinking about how Republicans reacted, because the Republican reaction this morning is, phew, wow, it's okay. We think we can play ball. He didn't give you specifics. He didn't give you anything that you could hold on to. And people had said, oh, this is going to be different. But given what happened during the inauguration speech, when he was so much bombastic and talking about American carnage, and it was like awful, all of a sudden now Republicans are like, well, no. He did it. He's okay. We can work with him. But as far as Democrats, you guys are really wishing up a hill here.
Because he also, political reporting, that he actually took serious, hand in his speech in terms of making sure, because after the first pass, he wanted it to be a bit more warmer, more about unity in the country, and I think he hit that message. It was good
right at the top, I felt that piece was stitched on, as I said to you last night, the thing about the Jewish community and all the attacks on the Jewish community centers and the graveyards. But I think it was important that he did it. I don't know if that was Jared's work or whatever, but I think that was appropriate and it's helpful. That might have been the most unifying message, Greg.
Well, I think I said this to you back in November, Juan. If you don't like Donald Trump in November, just give him some time, because he changes. And he's changed his political positions a lot. And, I mean, it is interesting to see Republicans who call people rhinos now embracing him, because that was a pure down-the-middle centrist Republican. He campaigned on red meat, but he's governing on free-range chicken, which actually a lot of people happen to like.
Everybody likes chicken.
If you're not an ideologue, you got to be okay with this.
But guess what? A lot of the people in the Republican caucus are ideologues. They don't want to compromise. They don't want to deal. But the question for me is, somebody said today, is that a pivot? And we've been looking for the presidential pivot from Donald Trump for a long time. Or was it a head fake? And will he just go back to being Donald Trump?
Let's get to the most dramatic moment of the night, and that was the one that Kimberly just mentioned, when President Trump saluted fallen Navy SEAL Ryan Owens and his wife, Corinne.
The challenges we face as a nation are great, but our people are even greater. And none are greater or braver than those who fight for America in uniform. We are blessed to be joined tonight by Corinne Owens, the widow of U.S. Navy Special Operator, Senior Chief William Ryan Owens. Ryan died as he lived, a warrior and a hero, battling against terrorism and securing our nation. Ryan's legacy is etched into eternity. Thank you.
And for those of you that saw that, it was a long and sustained ovation, Eric, that I just felt it was an American moment. I know it is not without its controversy, but I feel like everybody that was standing there was really doing it for her and for the sacrifice of her amazing husband.
Yeah, and 2.5-minute ovation, that's what we were talking about. So that line, his name, Ryan Owens, his name will be etched into eternity. That was a fantastic line that Donald Trump delivered. Now, in the aftermath of that, the despicable left is coming out saying, well, he threw that in there, and he threw the part about the general saying that there was intelligence gleaned from the raid that unfortunately we lost Ryan Owens. As a way to hide from the blame for losing Ryan Owen, and that is awful. If you if you watched that speech, you could not keep your tears back. You had to cry along with Karen or Corinne Owens while that was going on. But the left, no, they wanted to play politics out of it. Donald Trump, you know what he could have, if he really wanted to be political, he could have said, look, this was an operation that was started prior to me taking office. It was an operation that, yes, I condoned on January 28th when there was a full moon, and the general said it has to be done under a full moon, so I said go. But he didn't say any of that. He went back and said, give this woman her moment, give Ryan Owen his moment. Yeah. And there are a lot of people who felt that that moment right there was the moment that Donald Trump became POTUS 45 for the people who weren't supporters of his.
Yeah, I agree with that. I thought it was terrific television. Almost like he produced that moment, he worked towards that moment. But I must say, I recall that you and Greg were highly critical when Obama did something similar with Corey Remsburg back in 2014. You said it was a shield from legitimate criticism.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say that I'm always conflicted about this type of exercise, and I hesitate to use the criticism is they're using people as props, and both sides do it. So if the Democrats are going to do it, the Republicans can do it. The difference here is I don't think you could find a more real response than a woman looking up to the sky for her late husband.
Saying, love you, baby.
Final word to Kimberly.
Yeah, I just think this was such a poignant example and reminder that freedom does not come without a price. And he put his life on the line like so many men and women do to secure our liberties and our freedoms. And I think there's nothing about it that was a prop. That was pure human emotion. He deserved it. President Trump, when it counted, called right away, went to go see them. And really, I think that was one of the first things that happened to him as President of the United States and Commander-in-Chief, to know that you have lives in your hands, that are your personal responsibility to make choices, and choices that occur sometimes in horrible loss of life and casualties. So I think it's a wonderful tribute.
Ryan Owens comes from a family of public servants.
Distinguished service.
Absolutely amazing.
Yes.
And we are grateful. Yes.
I have a piece of advice, though, because the speech was, Trump's speech was probably the best speech he's ever done, I would say.
I think so.
Don't ruin the moment by bragging about it. Like, walk away like it was no big deal.
Did you see somebody on background at the White House today said they were surprised that people thought it was great because it's things that he's always said, so they were surprised by it?
I just think, you shouldn't have to bring it up. Because don't say today or tomorrow, yeah, everybody loved that speech. I did a great job. No, act like it was no big deal.
So hit the half-court shot and walk away.
And then walk away.
He did. He tweeted, and the only tweet was in capital letters. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was understated.
We can do it for him. 40 million people watched, record.
Yeah, it was the largest, and Fox was #1.
Hey, that's my one more thing.
Of course.
Well.
All right, we're going to move on.